Hello. How's everybody doing out there? We are doing good. We're my friend Caitlin and I are hopping on to really bring in this 1111 powerful portal that's happening today. And so I'm so just happy to be here with you, Caitlin, because you're so knowledgeable with all of this. Like I just can eat up everything that you download and speak. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thanks, Jamae. Thanks for having me. And I am a midlife mermaid, a shamanic astrologer, a jeweler for over 25 years, and also a biogeometress.
Yeah.
And I'm combining all these skills and knowledge into I'm combining them and to create a kind of different ways of healing the body and the environment. And yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what I do. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because you gave me
And yeah,
yeah, yesterday you gave me a great astrology reading. So thank you. So it
yeah,
was
what did you think about it?
just felt a shift, with everything. Like you really brought in, like, even if, it was like really what came in too is when we do the mapping and the line through, and I'm not in the greatest place. So I have to really focus and kind of transmute Pluto's line, so it just makes everything
Yes.
more difficult. So that I just worked on yesterday. It felt like you helped me like activate DNA and all sorts of cellular memory because I've been in this area like many times through other dimensional spaces. Um, so this time around, and where it's been challenging. So this time around, like you just, yeah, explaining it all was just really, really good. So thank you.
It can, it can be very validating. It's like, why
Yeah,
am I struggling
that's
here? It's like
that's
I
what it was.
should be, I was fine where I was, and now I'm here, and it's like, and it's like that was kind of the last thing we did was look at the astrocartography. And yeah, you're like right on a Pluto line, which is just like working through a lot of, shadow. It's the shadow work. So it's just very interesting, very interesting timing.
Yeah,
So, I mean, learning about just simple things like that. And really, astrology is all about gnosis. It's all about, becoming conscious of your energies and looking at shadow and light aspects of like some of the main characteristics of your chart. And
hmm,
really, like for me, I didn't realize, before I learned about astrology and studied my chart, I was like, oh, I've been in the shadow of my rising sign for a long time. I have not embodied the the higher aspects of a Virgo rising.
wow,
And then knowing that I have this intensified also, because it's like a 1 degree Virgo rising. I have a lot of planets there, which also magnifies it. And I was like, wow, I have really like not embodied that at all. So then it was just like about because Virgo is the high priestess. So Virgo always gets kind of a bad rap as being like, oh no, great for being organized and keeping the books or this and that because of the attention to detail, the understanding of patterning. But I really was like, really it's the high priest, high priestess. It's really about ceremony and honoring the cycles and moving with the cycles. So, and that doesn't have to be super complicated.
yeah,
It can
that
be really
was
simple,
powerful.
and it can be as much as working with the elements, which are the directions, the four directions,
Hmm.
which exists in like every native culture all over this realm was all about these directions and really working with them and almost like coming like they're beings to really connect to. because the whole thing with astrology is there's this outer and this inner, and like they all connect, like the seven chakras connect to the seven visible planets.
Mm-hmm.
There's this connection. So when you have your birth chart, it shows, okay, so Mercury was here. So that's going to be your mind and communication. It's going to be in this sign and house. And Venus is over here, and that's your divine feminine. And it's going to be, so, and then it becomes about learning through the layering of information, because it's a lot of information. I think people can walk away super overwhelmed with all of the knowledge that can come out of the chart.
Right. Well, it's like another language because it's so
Yeah, it's a whole other
I've
language.
been
Yeah.
getting astrology readings and doing them just constantly for years, and it still is barely scratching the surface with understanding. That's why I always have to have someone explain it to me. That does, because
And
you language.
it should be explained,
Yeah.
and it should be put in a context,
Yeah.
you know. So, and
It was
you
helpful.
also just
Yeah, that was helpful yesterday too, the four directions. So that's because I do have Virgo.
ah,
And so to keep me grounded because I have so much air. And so that was super helpful to just make sure I'm doing a little ceremony every day. And I did, in the evening last night. And I actually felt my guides show up, my ancestors, they were just all around me, holding space to call in those four directions. It was actually really beautiful. So I feel like that it was the start of this portal today. If the energies felt so, I could just feel this, like the raising of the frequencies and this just really powerful energy shift that's happening. And this is part of astrology, right? The 1111 portal, and where the
yes.
stars are aligned. And
And being in Scorpio season, Scorpio season is really about shadow, doing
mm,
the shadow work,
right.
working, going in the inner work
Yeah,
to help with the outer. Again, it's all this as above, so below, as within, so without. It's so profound
it is.
how the outer and the inner work together. And astrology really helps um, tie, with the gnosis, with understanding who you are and
Yeah.
and what's your purpose here.
Yeah.
You know, what is your divine purpose here? We all have a reason we're here, so it's like really getting down with that and going, okay, yeah, why am I here? For me, I'm here to bring and connect all this different information from the ancients.
Yeah.
That's definitely how through astrology, I've learned my purpose
Mm.
and other things, of course, but
Yeah.
the ancestors as well. I've learned
Mm.
that, that's what I'm here to bring the knowledge forward and to connect the different knowledge that has been sectioned off.
Yeah.
So like this morning I was dreaming about the apple.
Okay,
And
cool.
the apple, because I study like the etymology of words. And
Okay.
so the apple has in Spanish is manzana.
Mm-hmm.
And the apple also represents the Taurus field. So
Oh,
if you look at the apple, slice it, it has this core,
yeah.
which connects to the word Tor.
Okay.
Tor is the Taurus field. And Tor is one of these original words that has been used to describe energy.
Okay.
But so the core is the Tor, and there's this whole the fruit part, right, is like the Taurus field, and
Okay.
that's like this
That's
way to, yeah, it's like this symbolic way of connecting. Like how walnuts look like the brain and they
yeah.
help the brain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's like this whole thing around apples was like coming to me.
So cool. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
Love the messages.
yeah, and it is apple season right now, so
Yeah. Do you have apple trees where you're
yeah,
at?
I do. I haven't. They didn't do so well this year, but they're inland. They're doing great. So people have been bringing apples, out from inland, like Bonnie Doon, not Bonnie Doon. That's where you are, Boonville.
Oh, Boonville. My
Boonville, yes.
grew up.
Wait, no, you're Doon.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. I love apples too.
Yeah,
So, and then
yeah, and they're so good for you,
symbolic of
right?
the forbidden fruit as well, right?
Yes.
And then the apple,
No, right?
yeah. So that's just interesting that because there's so many, there's messages everywhere through
Yeah.
all of these.
Well, the Bible is really a story of astrology too.
That's what
So
it
there is this
is.
whole, yeah, connection to astrology. Like,
That's,
yeah, the symbolism.
oh,
Yeah, it's very complicated, but
yeah,
like, I don't think I can go through it right now because I'm still trying to grasp it. But there
yeah,
is a whole thing, snakes and the apple,
right.
and yeah, and the forbidden fruit,
Yeah.
and yeah, the divine feminine and masculine. Also, the apple can kind of represent that um the Vesica Pisces because it's like a circle and a circle, like the MasterCard symbol where the intersection is this core,
Mm,
because it's like the Taurus field is like these circles, right?
right.
And they cross
Yeah.
and then they make that Vesica Pisces
That's,
symbol.
yeah.
Yeah.
Power. Yeah. There's so much.
Yeah.
That's what like, and
There's so much.
there's just so much to give us clues. So it's like what resonates with me is that we, our future selves, our higher self, because we've been in this loop before, we're giving ourselves clues to figure it out to through the astrology. So we've written, but we've also been dealing with darker forces that have written their own, and they have their own, symbols and everything. But we've given ourselves those clues in this kind of matrix that we're in. And so
Yes.
fun. It's actually fun trying to
E-
figure it out.
Yeah, and that everything is this duality, this polarity. Everything is shadow and light.
Yeah,
What's interesting is in the early understandings, the shadow was not a dark force. The shadow was just the opposite of the light.
that's right.
So also the way we take in information and the way we go, oh, no, that's a dark force. The shadow is, a darker aspect, but it's not necessarily a negative thing.
Yeah,
So it's like
that's what
even the way
I've.
we interpret
Yeah.
things, in terms of shadow. And
Mhm.
Scorpio season is all about working with the shadow because the Scorpio is it's shamanic and it is the shaman. And so it triggers, like Scorpios often trigger people's shadows
Mhm.
because it's about transforming and transmuting into light. So they're often can be, they show up and people are freaking out and they're just like, whoa, what did I do? You didn't do anything. You just are a natural shadow magnet.
Yeah,
You just bring out stuff and then, they have to deal with it. It's their stuff,
yeah,
but if you have the skills of a shaman, you can help
yeah,
transform it, you know?
yeah.
So,
That's my
and
moon.
it's like a really, yeah, yeah, it's your
And
moon. So
so
it's,
that I can get in and, being born with a gift to read people. I can see things that people don't see within themselves. And it does make them, like in readings, people will get upset or, but then like years, like even with friends, if I see things, but then years later they'll be like, oh yeah, you were right. you so it's a double-edged sword to see the deeper shadows of people. It does make them uncomfortable because everyone's intuitive on some level, and
yeah,
feel that the other person, that has Scorpio or is a shaman, can tap into that. Yeah.
Yeah. And just really understanding that that's why, because I meet a lot of Scorpios doing readings. I kind of have a Scorpio magnet, I think, in a lot of ways. Because I just like validate a huge thing for them because they're just like, nobody likes me. I'm just like, and I just feel, especially younger women, I'm just like, get into it because this is what happens and you can't avoid it.
Right.
Like unless you just completely avoid seeing people, but it's just, and you can't do that either. So it's like some are parents, some are, they've got to deal. They've
Yeah.
got to deal with the triggering aspects. And then if you have a lot of cancer or other signs that are really sensitive,
Hmm.
it's like you always are taking like, oh, you're taking it personally. And it's like it's not personal.
That's right.
So
Because it's all
it's a
the
huge thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Health. It's
It's a
all
huge thing to
health.
work with
Yeah.
your Scorpio.
It's,
Uh,
well, it's death and rebirth, like I said in my
death and
chart.
rebirth.
Death and rebirth
Yeah.
every second. It's like of your and it's just intense. And that's just what it is. Yeah. It's for
Yeah.
noted.
So just like coming to terms with your chart and like, okay, I have a very difficult chart. So it's been hard to it's been validating to learn more about it, but it's also I have to recognize that it's just a challenging chart. And I also really like to, put it out there. If your chart is challenging, you have more to learn in this life.
Right.
I feel like I've learned tons because I'm like, I'm done. This is probably my last lifetime. Like had a lot of lifetimes, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm getting off the wheel.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
feel
that
like
is
this
through
is the
knowledge.
last, like we are getting off the wheel. We're moving into the new earth, new energies, the ascension. My guides have been telling me forever that this is it. That this has never happened in the history of planet Earth, that we are raising our consciousness. And then just getting back to our original frequencies of um like heaven, that just higher vibration, like in nature or where our angels are. So it's exciting
Yeah.
to do that in this life. But yeah, I don't think I want to come back either. So I actually don't think I've been here very many times. I heard the call to come, break down this matrix like you did. So that's what we're all remembering too, is what our purpose is. And I know a lot of other,
Yeah.
so many other people have heard the call. They, whether they've already, been looping in many, many times like you have, because I see that in your energy field. Yeah, you've had a lot of lifetimes in this 3D false matrix. I
Yeah.
haven't, and so but I came in like to you know ground in the energy, because it's all frequency too, right? So your
Yeah.
energy is needed, and figuring this out through our astrology is really important, because that's how we can get stronger and stronger within ourselves to connect to creator source, all that is, and know that's who we are to make these changes. So yeah,
Yes.
so astrology, and today is one of those days. So today is so powerful to connect to those, creator, source, God energy, and just bring it into your heart space, because that's what it's happening. We're like, it's at like full force today to raise those frequencies.
Yeah.
And so, what is going on like in astrology with this 1111 portal? Do you know, like,
I'm not so tuned in. There's something happening with Mars
okay.
at 111,
Oh, there is.
but
Okay.
yeah, at 111.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. I more work with the moon cycles.
Yeah.
So new moon is coming up on the 13th
Yeah.
and getting into that. But I was going to say about your comment that you just made, it's like we are, because I also meet a ton of Virgo risings
Okay.
because rising is like your evolution, what you're evolving into according to shamanic astrology. And we're here. That's our whole thing, is to be of service
Right.
to others, to really help and heal, and to be,
Yeah.
through understanding of sacred patterning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, to really understand, because we have a power to correct um, disturbances in the patterning,
Right.
and so, and make it, yeah.
And that's
And
a,
so, we're in that new moon portal.
I was just gonna say because
So
I okay because that's what I was like my intuition into like I was like that new moon is connected to today to today's portal. So
yeah,
I felt that
yeah,
energy and it was like really yeah powerful.
yeah.
There's a
So
hearing. There's like a we're getting and so maybe a lot of I know including myself I've been going through some grieving and I know that I have several friends going through grieving and it's in the relationship area but we could be grieving over a loss maybe we have animals and family members leaving this 3D space but we're also trying to figure it out letting go of old um energies through in relationships. So I'm seeing that. So there's a lot of grief around this, but then it also feels so good at the same time. It's like this clearing. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, grieving is clearing. So, it's very important to like release emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And Scorpio is all about, really, it's a water sign, and it's about feeling your feelings to the full extent.
Full
You
extent.
know,
Full.
can't be like, okay, I'm just gonna cry and stop myself from crying. It's like, no, you got to find ways to really feel in, if it's, grief or anger, or,
Mm-hmm.
you got to figure out ways to do it that don't pull energy from others. That's like the trick, because that's a shadow aspect of Scorpio, is that
Mm.
um you can like kind of steal energy from
Oh,
people,
oh,
you know,
interesting. Okay.
whole energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're, don't know how to grieve, and then you just go to somebody and you just dump all your things on them, and then they're like, wait a minute, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
That's actually stealing energy from other people. And of
Okay.
course, that person allows it to happen.
Right.
So it becomes this whole dynamic, that is,
Karmic lesson of yeah, how to
yeah.
not
Yeah.
take
So like figuring that out in a culture that doesn't really want you to be emotional, you know, we are not really, I mean, from childhood on, we're like, oh, don't cry, da, 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 don't feel your feelings. So
yeah.
that hits people a certain way, but for the water signs, that really hits them. If you can't express your feelings,
Yeah.
that is, but air signs were like, whatever, we can move on or whatever. But water signs, if you're told, don't cry, don't
Right.
express your feelings, that's like
Really
really harsh.
yeah, it is, and can create all sorts of ailments in the body too. So when we hold in that emotion, those emotions, so
Right.
let
That's
it
the forming
go.
process of, yeah. So that's where disease begins, right? Because we can't express. Yeah.
It
So
is,
it's interesting.
it's all thought.
Interesting times.
it
So,
is.
and the astrology is all about trying to create balance within the chart. So like I was talking to you, you have so much air. It's like you got to get to the earth, and you don't have much water. This could be as simple as that.
Yeah.
Looking at where your uh planets are, what elements they're in,
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing the balance of even that, so you start working with the element of earth, you start working with the element of water, going near the water. And we were talking about divination, like water divination, like we gaze into the water.
Yeah, I did that this morning on my walk early this morning.
Yeah.
It's like, don't fall in. Yeah, but it was really pretty. because it's like just these ripples. It's very like mesmerizing, and
Yeah.
it really felt, yeah, really good.
And the
So
sound of water, the
I just sound
sound, all of it.
so
Yeah.
healed.
Because I think part of it too is, I have this deep ancestry with working with water. And, of course, it was a natural part of the ancient world is working with the water,
Yeah,
and working with these different elements.
yeah.
So,
And there's consciousness, and that's what I was tuning in with too. Is like, oh, I was really feeling the consciousness in the water, which, I mean, I know there's consciousness in everything, and I tap in my Aquarian. I just tap into everything usually all at once. I don't get specific, but this morning I was like, really felt the consciousness of the water, and that was really powerful. It was just so graceful, and like there was just this beauty in it that
yeah,
I know was there, but it was really neat to like just tune in specifically with the water consciousness. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and this is part of working with the elements. It's like you start
Yeah,
working with water, and then it starts to really give back to you.
that's
And so,
exactly.
like the working with these different elements,
Yeah.
you know, then you start having this incredible connection with water,
Yeah.
you know.
We have these,
So it's
there's
yeah,
support
it's
there.
really
So when we do connect
or
with them,
everywhere.
it's support everywhere for us to get through our shit. Like
Yeah.
help us through this. Holy moly. And
Yeah.
so today, so we've moved through, I feel like, I think, because when I tap into the collective consciousness, and I just pulled a card the other day and it was around grief. And so that's what I was feeling for the collective is we're clearing that. But we
Yeah.
also are truly powerful beings and can manifest. And so that's what this portal is all about today too, is manifesting what you truly want for yourself, that isn't so much 3D, like it feels just at a higher expanded place. So it's like, really creating your reality and what you want to bring in to it. And I liked that video that you sent me, because I've gone a little more than halfway through it, so I need to finish it today. But the popping of the
Ether pop.
ether popping. I love that because I practiced that and I didn't know
Yeah.
it was called ether popping, but I just on a
Well, they
scale,
just made up that name.
I
Like
just
they just
love
came
that.
up with that name.
Yeah, like what
Like,
are we
yeah,
gonna like? What should we bring in today? And so,
yeah,
um, yeah, that it's like so that's you think of something that you want to bring in, and then my dad taught me this a long time ago, so what they were saying was familiar. He's like, if you really want to bring something into your reality um and bring it to fruition, you got to think, you think about it and you go, okay, I want to bring that in, and then you got to let it go. You got to give it back
yeah,
to the quantum space, so then it can manifest into your reality. So
yeah.
I love that.
That
Yeah,
could
ether popping.
the fifth element. The fifth element is ether, and the
Yeah.
ether is all what connects us, right?
Right.
It's the webbing.
Yeah.
So this web, and so that gets back to like ancient words, which is the like planet, plane, net. It's the plane and the net we're in. And so this is all the interconnectedness. So when we have something we want to manifest, and this is like done in like a chaos magic, like spontaneous magic. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I really want this thing. So I visualize the
Mhm.
thing coming to me. I visualize having it. I visualize like, oh, putting it on or whatever it is, and then let it go. If you don't let it go and obsess, that keeps it away.
Yes.
So there's a whole thing around, which is I didn't quite understand that until more recently. And I
Mm.
was like, because I have like Mercury and Virgo, and it's very obsessed. My mind is like, so it's like I have to do a lot with that. But so it's like, oh yeah, letting it go after
Yeah.
is like the best thing. And then also just coming to super like gratitude where you are now. So it's not like you need it or don't need it. You
Yeah.
just, I'm happy where I am right now. I'm happy with my life right now. I'm
The most
great
important.
with, yeah.
Yeah. It's the most important.
Even if you're not, even
That's
if you're not
right.
like
Yeah.
staying, stating it out loud,
It's
that you are.
You are exactly. My mom taught me that years ago, the old saying, fake it till you make it. She literally told me,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
40
some
now. She
real,
told me that when I was
yeah,
18,
there's,
17, 18, going through some hard times, but she was like, fake it till you make it, and then that always stuck. And then now I understand like yeah, being in gratitude, the positive affirmations, they do work. It's rewiring the brain. And then that's when you're fully aligning with that, you know, manifestation that you want to create in your reality. You know?
yeah. And so the realm, I mean, really wants to give you
Yeah.
what you are thinking about. So it's like also, and this relates back to astrology, is when you really know yourself and understand and you can see yourself, you become the conscious observer of your behavior.
Right.
You can see where you push things away because you'll be like, oh, well, I didn't get that thing. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, I'm never going to get it. And it goes back to these old stories we tell ourselves. I'm not the one who's going to get the thing, whatever.
That's what we talked
And
about
you got to,
yesterday. I'm like,
yeah, and you got to
I'm gonna do
really,
this and this, and then I put something, and then I'll do something, and then don't see anything, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. But like that's just, but it's, it's
and
consistency.
that's where we keep things away from ourselves
That's
when
right.
we're in the state, not the state, where we're not, so it's like we have to be really aware of all of our thoughts.
Yeah.
And this kind of ties into a lot of like Castaneda stuff, where it's like those Toltec shamans were really, you got to be impeccable with your thoughts,
Right.
and really
Right.
focus on your intent. What is your intent?
That's
You
yeah.
know,
That's
and it's like, if you really are observing your thoughts, you can see throughout the day when you have these moments and then just turning them around because, you know, we have an opportunity in every moment to turn things around.
that's
Like I
right.
had a really rough morning and I was like, okay. And then I just ended up laughing about it. But yeah, it was just like, oh my God, this morning.
Oh, you got
But it's just
yeah.
like,
It,
I'm not going to go through the day like this, let it
no.
snowball. It's like you have an opportunity
Yeah.
to to change it.
That's right.
So yeah,
That's the lesson. Like,
yeah. So
how are we gonna react to a situation, whether we're just, in our own space or with someone else? Like, yeah, we do have the opportunity to change it. We are driving our bus. We are the creators um,
yeah,
of it all. And yeah, and that's why it is so important to just be in that gratitude, change the thoughts. Yeah, be very aware, and I know you and we've been
yeah. I
doing it
think
for years. Yeah.
being aware of the thoughts is like
Yeah.
really the challenge, because
Yeah.
for me, I've been doing a lot of ceremonies and all that, but it's when I'm not in ceremony that, I really have to pay attention to myself. In ceremony, it's great. I'm doing all the things,
Yeah.
but not, it's like I definitely have had, yeah, a huge reality check after that last winter. And it was like, oh, yes, this is where I'm off, you know, and then correcting it, course correcting.
Yeah.
And it really has changed a lot. And and then I can relate everything back to the astrology,
Well, that's
really.
a yeah. That's what I was just gonna say, because astrology is about course correcting, because astrology will map out your potentials, your shadow, how you can course correct, how you can not go down, so it gives us that's a lot of information in there, because nothing's set in stone with,
Oh,
when you read your chart, right?
yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah. And I don't do any predictions, anything like that. And I think you have to really be careful when
Right.
you're
For
when
sure.
you're giving readings that you're not like putting some kind of energy out there that for that person, because the potential is, you
Right.
know, it's it's unlimited.
It is unlimited.
So, but it's really about understanding yourself, so you can like have the consciousness, the conscious awareness of
Yeah.
your behavior, not be unconscious going into things.
Because unconscious is
So,
being caught stuck in the loop, stuck in the
yeah,
matrix mind, kind of control and like addictions, habit. So when we're unconscious,
yeah,
we continue to do the same thing, even if it's not fulfilling or it feels depressing or, there's no growth. There's no
yeah.
growth in the unconscious. Yeah.
Well, or if you've learned some lessons, but then you like need, okay, so now I don't have to stay here. I've learned the lessons. Now I can move forward. So like understanding yourself and like how you deal with, um, learning things. It's like
Yeah.
you don't have to stay in these places. You can learn and then move forward.
That's great. And I liked what you said too. You don't have yesterday, like we don't have to don't try to tackle everything at once. It's just one thing at a time, just do something simple that you're changing up like in your day. Like
Yeah.
falling in the four directions, if you're called to do that, or just, sitting quietly by your favorite tree. Like just take little steps or, acknowledge one thought that you didn't like that day and just change that thought. Yeah.
And it's about also just, yeah, like you said, breaking your patterns
Yeah. Breaking.
too, because this is the best way to create new realities
Right.
is breaking your patterns. If you always do this every morning and that, and then you do this, it's like, well, you're going to have the same kind
Yeah.
of information loop
That's
every
right.
day.
Yeah.
You're not allowing for this realm to provide you with new experiences.
Yeah.
So going places you've never gone, or
Yeah.
going to see the sunset in a place, which is really hard because we are like such creatures of habit.
Just gonna
Like
say
I
that
even
we are.
I
It
know, I
really
know. Like I have
challenge.
my favorite sunset spot, and I'm like, you need to just go to another spot just to create a new like
I love it.
situation. Like, no, but I love this spot. It's the best spot.
Yeah. I
So,
know.
you know, it's like a challenge
It
to
is.
even do that. Yeah, but even walking a different way to your car or something from the house, it's just like we can create these little ways of doing things.
I love that. I'm gonna do that
And to
today.
think about
To my car.
when you're traveling, the traveling is a big one. When you leave and go someplace and
Right.
that's when you can really focus on the things you want to manifest too, because you've created so many different reality tunnels. If you're traveling and
Right.
doing something totally different than you usually do,
Yeah.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then we get into the like the quantum of like each decision, because I like this concept because I actually felt it. I've been feeling it really strong with the choices that I'm actually making in the day. Like I'm really feeling the division of like if I don't choose something that I was thinking about, my other self is going to continue to do that. It's been wild. Have you been experiencing that? And then I'll choose, and some of the choices have been hard decisions, but I see like, oh, I have to decide this because if I decide the other way, I'm going to loop somewhere. So it's I don't know, it's just been interesting. I've been seeing these splits of myself in the other dimensions with each choice I'm making. It's pretty wild.
That is wild. Yeah. I mean,
It
I'm a
is.
Libra, so it's first of all, it's very hard to make decisions.
Right.
And for me, it's like I have to like, I mean, sometimes I can make a decision if I know it right away. And
Yeah.
then other times I'm like, wow, and I'll kind of go back and forth for a long time. But I have noticed if I get these little hits, which are intuitive hits, if I act on them, then I'm making the right choice. If I don't act on them, and it's just like this nag, and then it becomes this nagging thing. Like, no, you need to just stop and do this, and it's like, no, no, but I'm doing this, so it's like our will versus like the higher self's will.
Exactly.
and like really be able to listen to the higher self and be like, okay, yeah, or your guides or whatever, is around you, guiding you,
That's right.
those of love and light that are here for our evolution, of course, not the others. We have to really make that clear too, right?
I totally.
Not everybody can participate, it's like,
Oh, I love it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
power.
So like really listening, that's been the hard part, to
Hmm.
stop what I'm doing and go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then it's always benefits me when I do it. So it's like then you start doing it more and more, and it's just
Yeah,
a whole thing. Yeah.
it
Sorry
is.
to stop bird. Got distracted.
Yeah, I'm like, well, you can hear the cars probably. I'm like kind of close by. I'm like,
I
someone's car.
can't.
Oh, good. Because I'm
I
like,
can't.
someone's car alarm was just going off. I'm like, okay, that's a sign, right? Everything's a sign. So I'm like, yes, we're downloading some amazing things right now. Um, oh, very
Yeah.
cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the importance of what we're doing here on planet Earth, figuring out our mission and days like this is when all our consciousness is when we have these and so then I ponder, I go out, I go way out, like maybe that's my Aquarian. So I go out like
Aquarius. You got Mercury in Aquarius too, so it's like,
oh
ooh.
gosh,
And when the sun, yeah, so it's just like
really expand out with
with
like
thoughts.
with thought,
Thoughts.
like what are we
Yeah.
really doing, like everything is just we really are in just a construct, and like these special days of
We started on that.
we start these special days, these special portal days are like, oh my god, we're going to be doing that, but really it's just we've made up everything, we literally have made up everything, and then that's part of this game that we're in. So it's like, I mean, everything. So we've created everything, even like the really dark stuff. And that's what my guides had said to me a while back. And I was like, I don't know, like we are all one. We all, ultimately have created what is happening, this false matrix. And now we're like, okay, time to like collapse that and then go back to source creator. But yeah, so those I just go way out, like none of it,
Yeah. Well,
it's
this gets back
all
to like the vibrational physics. I mean, that
that's right.
in
Yeah, yeah,
vibrational physics, we all come from the one, and then it's
yeah,
split into two. This is also with the Adam and Eve story. It's
right.
the atom,
Atom.
not Adam,
Yeah,
atom, like
yeah,
atom splitting
yeah,
and then becoming this multiverse, where it's like, and it's all duality. It's all shadow and light,
yeah.
the whole thing.
The whole
So,
thing.
and then it gets into,
Yeah,
yeah, like even our bodies are polarized. We have,
right.
like, if I take a pendulum and test my right hand, it's
Yeah.
positive. My left is negative.
Oh,
We go
interesting.
counterclockwise. Each
Wow.
finger,
Yeah.
the thumb is positive, pointer is negative. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you do that, we're all polarized. Our right foot, our right leg, positive, left, negative, in
Oh,
terms of spinning, not like you know, good and bad,
yeah.
in terms of like a pendulum spinning over it energetically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That,
So yeah, it's really interesting the polarities that exist, and
yeah.
we have to navigate
Right.
the polarities.
We
And you
do.
can't be like only one exists because it
Yeah.
really doesn't exist with the other. That's the whole tension.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
the tension of inner and outer too.
yeah.
The inner realms and the outer realms. There's just this tension,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Well, and now we're at the
Yeah.
consciousness of knowing that we're choosing, we can participate in anything we want. And then, but wherever our thoughts are. So like we have to, I feel in this elevated space. So our thoughts can now just create the better timeline and not have so much darkness. Cause that that like all the attention has been going towards that, the looping, the, the fighting, the or just, or even just exposing it is still creating the loop. It's still creating
Yeah.
that darkness to be really dark, instead of just pulling away from that and start really creating um a more positive timeline, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, about tuning into the dark. I mean, that is resonance. So when
Right.
you tune in to, like the news media or things like that, that you're coming into resonance with that. And so that brings more into that, more
Right.
get more people get sucked into it, that
Yeah.
way because they become in resonance just by paying attention to it,
Just by right.
creates a resonance. So it's really, I mean, in the vibrational physics realm, it's like you have to really be aware of what you're taking in.
That's right.
And that is also versus, the programming, the, movies,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. It's programming. It's called programming for a reason, right? It's here to like seed your
Yes,
thoughts,
it
feed the
is.
collective,
Yeah.
so you really gotta
And
be,
our challenge is like having the awareness to break free from it. I mean,
yeah,
that's how simple it is. Like it's, yeah.
yeah,
It's
that
like,
is how simple it is.
yeah, it's not. It's like, it's so simple, but it's not. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Super amazing. Oh, well, cool. Any last things? We can probably wrap it up.
No, I mean, I'm available for readings too if people are interested for readings, and you are as well. So you can go to
Yes.
my website, caitlinrossodom.com, and click on the astrology readings and send
Sure.
me an email to, yeah,
And I'll
to
put
do a
all
reading.
Caitlin's information in the description, like, and other info and yeah. Yes, definitely give
And,
Caitlin a call because she's amazing. Like yeah, that astrology reading and affordable. I mean, only $48. So I love that.
oh no, no, those are my amulet sessions
Those are
though.
amulet sessions. Okay, your readings are okay. Well, go to her website, check
Yeah,
it out. Yes,
that
because I'm
part.
gonna get I can't wait to get my power piece ring. So she's gonna make me a beautiful ring. But yes, okay. So
Or channeling,
or
or you're
channel.
channeling,
Yeah,
a
for my
tool for
channel.
channeling.
That's yes,
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna make it for. Yeah. And I can't
yes.
wait to, yeah. So I'll show you
Yeah.
guys.
And you do readings. Tell them about your readings.
Yeah, so I do intuitive readings. I'll put my information down below. I can tap into your Akashic records and really help you work through the your traumas, shadow self, all of that, like, and just release it. Let's like cut the cords and like energy work, almost like shaman work. But yeah, super great. And we will be on again because I love talking to you, Caitlin. Like
I know it's so fun. Let's
it's
do it
so
again.
fun. It's like just,
Really.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll get on again next week. And so I hope everybody has an amazing day today. 11/11. Create what you want in your reality, in your heart space, and sending you lots of love out there. Okay. Bye.